September 26, 2012, Monrovia, Liberia. A heavyset man is closing a cocaine deal when the door explodes inward. Armed agents flood the room. Paul LaRue slams against the wall, zip-tied, done. He thinks he's just another bust, but he's wrong. The man in cuffs isn't a middleman, he's the architect. He built an online pharmacy empire that flooded America with painkillers, $400 million in pure profit. Then he graduated. Cocaine by the ton from Colombia, meth from North Korea, gold smuggled out of Africa. When employees betrayed him, he had them killed. 7 kill orders signed from behind a laptop. But 6 hours later, on a DEA jet screaming over the Atlantic, Paul LaRue makes an offer that changes everything. He'll flip. The man who ordered the hits will hunt his own assassins. The kingpin becomes the snitch. And the most insane part? His killers don't know he flipped, still taking orders, still trusting the boss, walking straight into his traps. How does a programmer become a cartel boss? And why does he burn his entire empire to ash? Paul LaRue grew up in Krugersdorp, South Africa, lanky, awkward, and obsessed with machines. By 16, he taught himself programming. By 23, he was writing encryption software in his bedroom. In 1999, he released E4M, encryption for the masses. Free disk encryption so sophisticated, it laid the groundwork for TrueCrypt, which millions would download. Open source developers praised his genius, but LaRue watched his bank account stay empty. That bitterness calcified into something harder. Then he spotted the gold rush, online pharmacies. In 2002, Americans typed "buy painkillers" online into search engines and found websites promising prescription pills with no doctor visit required. Brick-and-mortar pharmacies couldn't compete. Federal regulations hadn't caught up. The gray zone stretched wide open, and LaRue saw the seam. In 2004, he launched RX Limited from an apartment in Manila. Not a pharmacy, a whole pipeline. The system ran like clockwork. Type tramadol into Google. Click through to one of RX Limited's 200-plus domains. Fill a questionnaire. Back pain? Migraines? Check yes, a U.S. licensed physician. Someone LaRue contracted. Someone who never examined you. Rubber-stamped a prescription. A small-town pharmacy in Tennessee or Wisconsin received the script electronically, filled the bottle, and shipped it via FedEx. Real pills by real doctors and real pharmacies. The genius was the invisible hand connecting them. Shell companies in the Philippines, the Seychelles, Hong Kong, all controlled by one man with a laptop. Tramadol and Soma weren't classified as controlled substances yet, so it was technically legal. Regulators moved slow. LaRue moved fast. By 2005, orders flooded in. 5,000 daily, then 10,000 cash poured through offshore accounts. $10 million, then $50 million, then $100 million annually. He never stepped foot in America. He never touched a pill. By 2007, RX Limited generated $250 million a year. One Zimbabwean coder became America's largest unregulated painkiller dealer during the opening act of the opioid epidemic. LaRue scaled like a tech startup. He opened call centers in Israel, then the Philippines, eventually employing over 1,000 people wearing headsets, using fake American names like Mike or Jennifer, reassuring customers their Vicodin was en route. When authorities shut down one website, 10 more materialized. He registered his own domain service to stay ahead. Spam emails blasted millions of inboxes. It was an assembly line for anonymous drug dealing, hidden behind customer service scripts and tracking numbers. People got addicted, some people overdosed. By 2008, at least 7 deaths were traced back to RX Limited shipments, but LaRue didn't pause. If anything, the $250 million annual revenue fueled his appetite. When you're printing 9 figures from America's painkiller addiction, sitting in a Manila penthouse with multiple passports, the question isn't how to stop. It's how far you can push before someone pushes back, so LaRue decided to find out. He was about to buy something money couldn't print: control. Not over websites, over territory, products, and people. But first, he needed muscle. He needed reach. And in 2007, he started hiring. Why did a programmer need ex-military killers on payroll? And what exactly was he planning to move next? Oh, by the way, while our hacker turned to the dark web for quick cash, there's actually a legitimate way to earn money from your phone that won't land you on a DEA watch list. That's where today's sponsor, FreeCash, comes in. It's a platform where you can earn real money playing mobile games and completing surveys. Completely legal, I promise. We used it and it works very smooth. Forest Cleaner is insane. Unlike other sites that make you wait for $100, you can cash out at just $20. They've got over 5,000 offers to choose from, plus direct cash back on in-app purchases. Here's the thing, I activated 3 game offers, played for a few minutes each, and already earned enough for a coffee. Just remember to enable app tracking so you actually get rewarded. You can withdraw through PayPal, Bitcoin, or gift cards, even instant payouts. Sign up using my link below, and you'll get a $5 bonus when you start your first offer. You can also scan this QR code on screen. But unlike FreeCash users, our hacker wasn't satisfied with legitimate earnings. By 2008, Paul LaRue controlled bank accounts in 17 countries. He flew private. He bribed government ministers in 3 African nations. He owned multiple passports under aliases. His pharmacy business still generated $200 million annually, but US regulators were closing in, Soma got banned in 2011, and tramadol restrictions tightened. Rather than retreat, LaRue expanded into harder markets. He diversified like a hedge fund manager, except every asset was criminal. Logging rights in the Congo, he bought timber concessions and moved hardwood through corrupt customs officials' gold smuggling. He chartered planes from Ghana to Dubai, moving gold bricks past inspectors paid in cash. Land deals in Zimbabwe, he spent $12 million leasing farms, and one day he was bored, approached a former Israeli intelligence operative about removing dictator Robert Mugabe from power. Yes, he was doing a regime change. LaRue played Risk with real nations. Then he pivoted to products that could destroy lives faster. Painkillers were phase 1. Methamphetamine and cocaine were phase 2. By 2009, LaRue was sourcing pure crystal meth from North Korean labs through Chinese brokers. North Korea produced meth of 96% purity, and LaRue knew how to pay for it. He swapped meth for Colombian cocaine, trading products between cartels like commodities. He already knew logistics. Moving pills taught him shipping routes, customs vulnerabilities, offshore banking, drugs, guns, chemicals, gold. If it was illegal and profitable, LaRue touched it. His network grew tentacles. He bought freighters to haul cocaine from South America to Australia. He established airstrips in Africa for gun-running military-grade rifles, ammunition. Even missile guidance systems moved through his channels to anyone with cash. Somali pirates, paramilitaries, rogue governments, former Israeli and South African soldiers staffed his operation. He didn't hire accountants anymore. He hired killers. One name kept appearing in LaRue's communications: Rambo H. Joseph Hunter, former U.S. Army sniper and soldier, became LaRue's head of security. Rambo recruited a team of ex-military operatives, men who'd served in special forces, men comfortable with violence. Their job wasn't protection, it was enforcement. When employees stole from LaRue, when business partners double-crossed him, when informants talked, Rambo's team handled it, and LaRue paid $35,000 per hit. Catherine Lee learned this in February 2012. She worked in LaRue's Philippine office, managing finances. When she discovered discrepancies in the books, she confronted her boss' bad move. LaRue ordered her killed. 2 hired gunmen followed her into a parking lot in Subic Bay, Philippines. They shot her 4 times and she bled out on the pavement. She was 34. The killers fled to Manila, collected their fee from LaRue's lieutenant, and disappeared. No witnesses came forward. Philippine police filed a report and shelved it. For LaRue, it was a $35,000 expense, cheaper than litigation and cleaner than negotiation. But Lee wasn't the only one. A real estate broker in the Philippines who annoyed LaRue, shot dead. A boat captain who knew too much about a cocaine shipment, vanished at sea. An employee suspected of informing, stabbed 7 times, and dumped. LaRue ordered hits the way CEOs fire staff, coldly, efficiently, with paperwork to follow. By 2012, His body count reached at least 7 confirmed murders, possibly more. The programmer who started by selling pills was now a kingpin comfortable with assassination. The DEA watched, building a file. They knew the alias Paul Solacci. They knew about RX Limited. They traced offshore accounts, intercepted communications, and flipped informants. But LaRue stayed ahead, encrypted phones, burner laptops, proxy servers. He never stayed in one country long. He operated from hotels, moved weekly, and trusted nobody. His paranoia kept him free, until it didn't. Why would a man this careful walk into a hotel in Liberia for a business meeting? And what convinced him the cocaine deal was legitimate? Early 2012, DEA agents in Cartagena, Colombia, flip one of LaRue's logistics coordinators, a man who arranges cocaine shipments from South America to Australia. He gives them everything: shipping manifests, offshore account numbers, communication protocols. Most importantly, he gives them leverage. The DEA crafts a plan. They create a fake deal: 100 kilos of cocaine, 200 kilos of meth, weapons, all transiting through Liberia into the United States. They dangle it in front of LaRue through the flipped coordinator. The bait is $10 million profit, untraceable routes, and a new partnership in West Africa. LaRue bites. He sends his trusted lieutenant, a South African enforcer, to vet the deal in Monrovia. The enforcer reports back that they are legitimate buyers with solid logistics. LaRue decides to close it himself. On September 26, 2012, he books a flight to Liberia under one of his aliases. He brings 2 associates. He checks into Hotel Mamba Point at the room 308. The DEA waits across the street. That afternoon, LaRue sits at a table in his hotel room, reviewing documents with what he thinks are Colombian cartel representatives. They're undercover agents. The conversation lasts 90 minutes, discussing payment, shipping timelines, and product quality. LaRue negotiates prices and confirms delivery dates. He has no idea every word is being recorded. Then the knock, the door exploding inward. The ambush. Within 60 seconds, Paul LaRue is in custody, his wrists zip-tied, his empire entering its final hour. They fly him to New York in a DEA jet. Agents expect resistance, denials, demands for lawyers. Instead, LaRue talks. He talks for hours. He describes his entire operation: the pharmacies, the cocaine routes, the meth shipments from North Korea, the gold smuggling, the murders he names names. He offers to cooperate, not out of remorse, out of calculation. LaRue understands the math. Life in prison versus 25 years. He's 41 years old. 25 years means he walks free at 66. Life means he dies in a cell. So he chooses betrayal. The DEA makes the deal. LaRue will become a cooperating witness. He will help dismantle his own network, one lieutenant at a time. In exchange, prosecutors will recommend leniency at sentencing. The kingpin becomes the informant. The man who ordered 7 murders will now hunt his own hit squad. But here's the twist nobody saw coming. LaRue won't just provide information, he'll actively bait his former associates into traps, helping orchestrate stings, all while his employees still believe he's running the empire from hiding. How long could he maintain the deception? And would his most trusted killers really fall for it? LaRue starts talking in October 2012. From a secure facility in New York, he gives agents access to encrypted servers, Swiss bank accounts, personnel files, and shipping manifests. He draws org charts naming every lieutenant, courier, and enforcer. The DEA and FBI build case files overnight. Then LaRue offers something more valuable. He'll lure them in himself. The plan is audacious. LaRue will pretend he's still free, still running operations, still issuing orders. He'll communicate with his network through monitored channels, setting up deals that are actually stings his associates, believing the boss is in hiding, will walk into traps. It's psychological warfare. The man they trusted, maybe even feared, is now hunting them from inside a federal facility. Joseph Hunter, Rambo, becomes target number 1. Hunter still runs LaRue's enforcement team, coordinating hits, managing the ex-military crew. In September 2013, LaRue reaches out through encrypted email. New job, he says. 2 DEA informants in Liberia need eliminating. Hunter and his crew should fly to Liberia, handle it, and collect the fee. Hunter assembles his team. Former U.S. soldiers, South African operatives, men who've killed for LaRue before. They book flights to Monrovia. When Hunter and his team land at Roberts International Airport on September 25, 2013, exactly 1 year and 1 day after LaRue's arrest, DEA agents are waiting. They arrest all of them at the gate. Hunter realizes too late. The Liberia DEA informants don't exist. LaRue set them up. The betrayal is total. Hunter gets life in prison without parole. His team gets 20 to 40 years each. The man who killed for LaRue spends his final court appearance staring at the floor, probably replaying every order, every encrypted message, wondering when the boss flipped. LaRue doesn't stop. His former logistics coordinator in Hong Kong, lured into a sting, arrested and sentenced to 14 years. A meth chemist in the Philippines, same trap. A weapons dealer in Colombia, arrested mid-deal. Between 2012 and 2016, federal agents working with LaRue dismantle his network like demolition experts. One controlled explosion at a time, over 20 arrests. Cocaine shipments seized mid-ocean. Bank accounts frozen in Switzerland, Hong Kong, and Singapore. The empire collapses inward. Some cases fall apart. In 2017, 3 of LaRue's senior pharmacy lieutenants stand trial in Minnesota. The jury, overwhelmed by the web of shell companies and offshore accounts, acquits them. Another underling escapes custody and vanishes. Not every trap succeeds. But the key players, the killers, the smugglers, the enforcers, go down. Some receive harsher sentences than LaRue himself will eventually get. The hitmen he ordered get life. The boss who gave the orders is still negotiating. Meanwhile, LaRue's former employees believe he's in hiding, orchestrating operations from a safe house somewhere. They communicate through encrypted channels, receive orders, never suspecting the voice on the other end is cooperating with the agents hunting them. The illusion holds for years. When arrests start piling up, some assume rivals are moving in or law enforcement got lucky. Only in 2016, when prosecutors unseal LaRue's case, does the truth detonate across the network? The boss flipped. He sold everyone out. Imagine being one of his mercenaries. You killed for this man. You trusted him with your freedom, maybe your life, and he delivered you to federal agents in Shakespeare. This is Brutus betraying Caesar, except Caesar invited Brutus to the Senate floor knowing the knives were coming. One of LaRue's cousins, who'd worked for him and nearly died in a business dispute, said only, "Thank you to the brave people who ended this nightmare." Even prosecutors feel uneasy. They caught murderers and traffickers, but they partnered with the architect of it all. Was dismantling a criminal empire worth cutting a deal with the man who built it? The answer would come in a courtroom in June 2020, when LaRue finally faced a judge. But what sentence do you give a man who helped convict his own hit squad? June 12, 2020, Federal Courthouse, Southern District of New York. Paul LaRue, 47 years old, heavier and grayer than the man arrested 8 years earlier, stands before Judge Ronnie Abrams. He's pled guilty to 7 murders, racketeering, narcotics trafficking, and arms dealing. In a letter to the court, he wrote, "I have blood on my hands. I accept full responsibility." The courtroom is silent. Families of his victims sit in the gallery, Catherine Lee's mother among them, staring at the man who ordered her daughter's execution in a parking lot. Judge Abrams reads the facts aloud. 7 confirmed murders, possibly more. 100+ kilograms of cocaine trafficked. 200+ kilograms of meth moved from North Korea. $250 million in illegal pharmacy sales. Weapons sold to militants. Gold smuggled. Bribery. Corruption. Conspiracy. She calls his conduct breathtaking in scope and severity, comparing him to a villain from a James Bond film. She could sentence him to life, multiple life sentences stacked consecutively. The man deserves it. Then prosecutors stand. They argue for leniency. Paul LaRue cooperated extensively, they say. His assistance led to 23 arrests. His information dismantled an international network. Without his cooperation, men like Joseph Hunter might still be killing for hire. The legal paradox becomes clear. To encourage cooperation, the system must reward it. If informants get punished as harshly as their co-conspirators, nobody flips. The machine stops working. Judge Abrams splits the difference. She sentences LaRue to 25 years. With time served, he could be released in 12 to 15 more 12 years for orchestrating an empire of death and addiction. Joseph Hunter got life without parole. The men who pulled triggers on LaRue's orders will die in prison. The man who gave the orders might walk free before he turns 60. The math doesn't balance. But the system rewards betrayal if the betrayal brings results. As custody, LaRue faces extradition to the Philippines. Authorities there hold murder charges, Catherine Lee's killing. Among others, no cooperation agreement exists with Manila. They want him tried, convicted, and imprisoned on their soil. LaRue's post-American fate remains uncertain. Will he die in a Philippine prison? Will he negotiate another deal? The file isn't closed. Paul LaRue doesn't end with a gunshot or a gavel strike. He ends with a question about the distance between genius and monstrosity, and whether cooperation erases complicity. That question hangs in the air long after the courtroom empties. And it ensures this story won't fade, because the line between building empires and destroying them is thinner than we'd like to believe. If you want to see how another programmer used encryption to create one of history's darkest marketplaces, check out my video on the Silk Road. That's a rabbit hole even deeper than this one.